old at the beginning of this story. He's really old at this point. Well, he's past at this point in the story, but he was old when they got to the end of the wilderness. And so Moses passed, but he passed on his leadership to Joshua. And Joshua is leading the people of God over the Jordan River into the promised land. And what God told them to do, because God cares for people and is very specific a lot of the time, is to take the Ark of the Covenant, which was sort of the symbolic presence of God, and have the priests carry the Ark of the Covenant. I think it took several of them. This thing was big. And walk into the middle of the Jordan River. And when they did, it dried up, right, like a path, right through the middle, just like the Red Sea did when they were coming out of Egypt. The Jordan River dried up. And it says it was at flood stage, so it's not like it was just some little trickling brook, but this was a miraculous moment. And all of the Israelites, all of the people of God were able to pass through. And that's where we pick up our story. It says, when the whole nation had finished crossing the Jordan, the Lord said to Joshua, choose 12 men from among the people, one from each tribe, and tell them to take up 12 stones from the middle of the Jordan, from right where the priests are standing, and carry them over with you and put them down at the place where you stay tonight. So they were going across the Jordan. They were going to camp out on the other side. And God's like, hold on. Now that you've gone through, go back, get some rocks. And these rocks symbolize the different tribes of the Israelites. It goes on to say, so Joshua called together the 12 men he had appointed from the Israelites, one from each tribe, and said to them, go over before the ark of the Lord your God into the middle of the Jordan. Each of you is to take up a stone on his shoulder according to the number of the tribes of the Israelites to serve as a sign among you. Keywords to jump on right here are, one, take up, like do a thing. Don't just think about a thing. Don't just acknowledge that there are some rocks and that I'm the leader of my tribe and that would be my rock. It's like, go pick up your rock. And apparently it's a sizable rock because you got to put it on your shoulder. You don't put a little rock on your shoulder. That wouldn't make any sense. So take up your rock, and this is going to be a sign. What do signs do? They point to stuff all the time. A sign directs or guides or shows you something, reminds you of something, or tells you where to go or whatever. A sign is never there for itself. Like you don't have a sign on the side of the road that says, this is where the sign goes. That wouldn't make any sense at all. You put a sign there to give you information, to let you know what's going on. And then it says, in the future, when your children ask you, what do these stones mean? What does this sign mean? Tell them that the flow of the Jordan was cut off before the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord. When it crossed the Jordan, the waters of the Jordan were cut off. These stones are to be a memorial to the people of Israel forever. A memorial, you guys already know this, a memorial preserves a memory. So a gravestone is a memorial. The Jefferson Memorial is a memorial. It preserves the memory of Thomas Jefferson. Or a gravestone preserves the memory of whoever passed away, and that gravestone is at the head of. So Joshua was to set up the stones, and those would serve as a memorial. And it says, and they are there to this day. That would be the day that they wrote this. I don't think that they're there today. They may be there today. They may be there buried today in some way or another. Then we'd skip a little bit of scripture, jump to verse 21. Not that other scripture is not important, but in the, with the idea of time, and it kind of repeats what we already talked about. A lot of ancient Jewish writing repeats for emphasis. And so it's really important, so it repeated. But we're going to skip to verse 21. It says, he said to the Israelites, in the future, when your descendants ask their parents, he is God in this situation. When your descendants ask their parents, what do these stones mean? Tell them, Israel crossed the Jordan on dry ground. So I'm asking you to do this thing. I'm asking you to create this sign, this memorial. I want you to preserve this memory. And now he's telling them why. It says, for the Lord, for is an explanation of why something. For the Lord your God dried up the Jordan before you until you had crossed over. The Lord your God did to the Jordan what he had done to the Red Sea when he dried it up before us until we had crossed over. That's amazing in itself. Joshua and I have talked about water in the Bible before. It always means something, but it's amazing that he took them out of slavery through water. He takes them into the promised land through water, out of the wilderness. I'll let you study that on your own, or just talk to Joshua about it. He'll explain it to you. Did the Jordan, Red Sea, try to cross over. He did this so that all the peoples of the earth might know that the hand of the Lord is powerful. Why did he do it? So all the peoples of the earth would know that the hand of the Lord is powerful. It's not just for the Israelites. It's not just for this one chosen group. It's for all the world. God always has the whole world in mind. Important to remember. Lord is powerful, and so that you might always fear the Lord your God. So, two very important reasons to do that. Two very important reasons to create a memorial, to preserve the memory of what God did, is to show how great and powerful God is, and so that you can fear the Lord. Fear the Lord does not mean to be afraid of or scared of. To fear the Lord is to know who he really is. When we know who God really is, it is awesome and terrifying all at the same time. That's kind of the definition of God in itself, but especially the God that is the creator and sustainer of life. The closer we get to God, the more we see who he is, the more we realize that we don't exist and breathe and have awareness of God without God. That's what the fear of God is all about. So today, we are going to move toward an action. I'm going to ask you guys in just a little bit. I got a little more talking to do, not a lot. A little more talking to do, but I'm going to ask you, and I want you to go ahead and be thinking about it. What is your Jordan River? What is the thing that God has done for you that you have to be grateful for? What is something that has happened in your life in the not so distant past, in recent days, weeks, months, years, that you want to be thankful for, that if you made a memorial to it, that people would know how good God is, or how much he loves you, or how loving he is, or that he cares at all? What is the thing that needs to be pointed to? Sometimes it's mundane, ordinary things. Like sometimes we really are thankful to wake up in the morning because we know we have a loved one who didn't. And so ordinary things become very important, and we remember to be thankful for those. Sometimes it's something awesome and extraordinary. Like maybe you've seen someone healed. Maybe you've seen someone who was headed in a wrong direction turned back toward God, or something like that. Maybe you have something exciting to thank God for right now. Either way, every single one of us has something to be thankful for. We have something that we can respond to God for and about, and it is right and appropriate and good and biblical to respond to God in action. So I'm going to ask us to take an action in a couple of minutes, but you can go ahead and be thinking about that as I tell this other story from the life of Jesus from Luke 17. Again, if you're following along, we're in Luke 17. Luke was a historian, and a doctor who traveled with the apostles after Jesus' ascension. And he went back and did all the studying, all the interviews, all the research he could possibly do to find out about the life of Jesus and what happened when Jesus was on the earth. And he wrote it down, and we call that the Gospel of Luke. And so in the book, or the Gospel of Luke, we are in chapter 17 in verse 11. This is an incredible little story for us to know. It says, now on his way to Jerusalem, Jesus. Now on Jesus' way to Jerusalem, Jesus traveled along the border between Samaria and Galilee. So not all the way in the city, on the edges. As he was going into a village, 10 men who had leprosy met him. And they stood at a distance and called out in a loud voice, Jesus, Master, have pity on us. Calling it out in a loud voice. Why are they standing at a distance? Because they're nasty. Because they're unclean. They were considered religiously and ritually unclean. And leprosy is a brutal, horrible disease. And so they weren't allowed to be near people, but they especially weren't allowed to be near rabbis or priests or holy people. And they also, a lot of times, couldn't be all the way in the city. That's why they're in the in-between where Jesus happened to be walking, and they cry out for pity. When he saw them, he said, go show yourselves to the priests. And as they went, they were cleansed. One of them, when he saw he was healed, came back, praising God in a loud voice. He threw himself at Jesus' feet and thanked him. And he was a Samaritan. Jesus asked, were not all 10 cleansed? Where are the other 9? Has no one returned to give praise to God except this foreigner? Then he said to him, rise and go. Your faith has made you well. Key things to grab out of this verse. First, Jesus asked them to do a thing. He didn't just think about it and they were cleansed. There was something about them taking a step of obedience to Jesus that had to do with their healing. I don't know how all that works. But it seems that very often for us as believers, we get to see what God's doing on the other side of a step of obedience. We had baptism a few months ago. Those people who were being baptized took a step of obedience. I think God unlocks a lot of times what he has for us on the other side of obedience. So Jesus asked them to do a hard thing. He asked them to go and show the priests. Now, they had to really trust him to do that because they weren't healed yet before they took that step. And to go and show yourself to a priest with leprosy is to bring ridicule and condemnation on yourself. A priest would not want to see you, would not want to spend time with you if you had leprosy. So it says, as soon as they started going, they were cleansed. When they took that action, when they moved. Second of all, it says one guy came back to thank Jesus. Were all 10 of them thankful? Probably. I mean, I can't imagine you wouldn't be if you had leprosy 1 minute and then you didn't have it the next minute. They were all thankful, probably in their heart, but only one took action. Only one made a movement, like did a thing. And the thing he did was go throw himself at Jesus' feet and thank him for what had happened. He made a move. He took a step. And the last thing is that last little part. Jesus says, rise and go, your faith has made you well. Well, obviously that doesn't mean the healing. He already had the healing. They all had the healing. But that idea that his faith shown through his action brought him something else. Something that it seems like the other 9 did not receive. The word used for well there is sozo. And sozo is like life, wholeness, like a freedom, like the life that God offers is what this guy is receiving. But he's receiving it because of his faith, and his faith shown through action. He already believed. He was healed. He was thankful. But he took a step. Jesus told him, I'm not telling him. I'm not telling you something. We're looking at what Jesus said. Rise and go. Your faith has made you well. That's incredible. We want that. We all want what Jesus offers. We want our faith to make us well. And we can have it. It's available to us all the time. And I'm not saying you have to do a thing all the time. I do not want to create a list of burdens for you to carry, like, I got to do this day, this day, this day. I'm not going to be well. Jesus is not going to give me what I want. All those things. This is not about that. We are not making a push toward religious activity to force God's hand in any way. But when we believe something and then we act accordingly, it shows what we believe. And in this case, it shows faith. And Jesus says, faith made you well. So what I want us to do right now is ask the question. You can ask the question in your head. This isn't a time where you necessarily have to ask out loud or anything like that, but just ask God, what should I be grateful for? You have a God who loves you, knows you. He's a really, really good father. And good fathers communicate to their children, to their sons and daughters. And so ask in your head. You close your eyes if it helps, but ask, God, what should I be grateful for? And then, in just a minute, after I give instructions, we're going to put on some background music, just instrumental. We'll dim the lights in case you need to be anonymous in some sort of way. And I'm going to ask every single one of us to do something. And I believe that if you are here this morning, God has something for you. And if you are here this morning, you have an opportunity to connect with God. And every single one of us can do it. Now, I will give it the tiniest caveat. If you're in a horrible headspace and you're like, don't you tell me what to do, not today, not after the week I've had, stay in your seat. I don't want to fight you. But everybody else, except for that one person, this is what I'm going to ask you to do. If we can put the instructions on the slide. They're different on my paper, so I'm looking at the slide. All right. First, ask God, what I already told you to ask God, what should I be grateful for? Then, in just a minute, you're going to get up out of your seat and walk to the side. Don't have to rush. There's plenty of rocks. I want you to grab a rock and a marker and write what you were thankful for on that rock. You can write a paragraph on the rock if you want. You can write one word. God knows. He knows what it is. You're taking the action step, even if you just write one word on the rock. I have one right here. This rock already has writing on it. That's me. Those pens over there, there's some Sharpies, there's some paint pens. They all work really good on rocks. I tested them. This rock. I'm thankful for that. And then I want you to bring your rock with your thing on it. You can put your marker back and stack them in this wooden bowl. We're going to make a heap. It says Joshua on the other side of the Jordan River made a heap as a sign to point to how good and how powerful God was. We're going to make a heap to show how good and how powerful God is. And it's going to be awesome. So, Danny, if you want to dim the lights, I'm just going to give you guys an opportunity to do that. So right now, just if you're close to the rocks, go ahead and get up, get a rock and get a marker. When you're done, put your marker back. I think we have enough markers, but if we don't, give somebody a marker or share a marker. Write something on there. And then put that final slide up, Joseph, that says, so that all the peoples of the earth might know that the hand of the Lord is powerful, and so that you might always fear the Lord your God. Every single one of us can look at this heap of rocks of how good God is and how thankful we are, how grateful we are, and worship him all the more. Thanks, Josh. Take your time, guys. We got time. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Turner. I am praying that God is glorified by every single rock, by your heart, by what he's done in your life, what he's doing in your life. Thank you. I'm with you. Good to see me. Hi, sister. You guys, when the band is done doing their rocks, they're going to come back up. Again, no rush. They're going to come back up here. And I'm just asking and I'm praying that as you go back to your seats, having taken a step of gratitude, of action in gratefulness to glorify God, that we just even feel different in worship. As we sing this last song, which is so incredible, feel free to go outside the bowl if we need to. As we sing this song, just let your heart worship in gratitude and gratefulness to God. Be in worship to him.
Let's stand and worship together.
God of Abraham, you're the God of covenant. Time and time again, you have proven you'll do just what you said. Though the storms may come and the winds may blow, I'll remain steadfast and let my heart learn when you speak a word, it will come to pass. Great is your faithfulness to me. Great is your faithfulness to me. From the rising sun to the setting same, I will praise your name. Great is your faithfulness to me. God, from age to age, though the earth may pass away, your word remains the same. Your history's your proof, there's nothing you can